everyone. Welcome to the Energy Storage Market Series. My name is Erez Dolev, and I'm a Managing Director here at RENVU. Today, we're going to be hearing from Nick Nielsen and Rick Schmidt, Regional Sales Managers at Lithion HomeGrid. They will speak about the Stacked Series product overview, NEM-3 Solutions with HomeGrid, best installation practices. They will talk about accessories, heated modules, upgrading existing systems, outdoor cases, and the HomeGrid Cube. They will make a comparison of their battery to others and compatible inverters. Before we dive in, and while we're waiting for more people to join, I'd like to give a little background on RENVU, as well as some of the products and services we offer. RENVU is a US-based solar equipment distributor. We've been in the industry for over a decade now, and we currently have fulfillment facilities in California, New Jersey, and Texas. Our sales staff all have backgrounds within engineering or sales installation to provide with the best sales service. Let's see, a few products quickly to spotlight here. We're giving $250 gift card for every energy storage product you purchase this month. You can apply the gift card to your order if you prefer. We have all the Solis new residential hybrid inverter for high voltage battery banks. We carry the whole solar portfolio, and the new Lumen smart panel is available now. With this add-on to your main panel, you don't really need to upgrade your existing panel or add a critical load panel. You can simply add this device, the Lumen smart panel, and you will have a full monitoring and control over your loads. We are clearing the last three Enphase IQ battery 10T, and we are offering them at below $6,000 now. We are clearing also our Q-Cells ESS systems with 7.6 inverters, auto transformers, and 18.9 kilowatt hour battery banks, and all that for $5,985. And we're actually giving 3 extra batteries, so 3 6.3 kilowatt hour batteries. That is another 18.9 kilowatt hour. You cannot connect it to the same inverter, but it can be a backup or a replacement in the future. We carry the Tigo optimizers and rapid shutdown, sorry, and all the Enphase microinverters at great pricing. If you have any questions, you can send it to info@renvu.com. For Enphase, we currently have a great deal on the IQ8H. For every 5 cases you're buying, you will get 1 free case and also a Ryobi toolkit. Jumping here to our commercial price list, you can see here our current module offerings and deals with some information on each one of them with data sheets and availability and pricing. I think it's a good one to have access to, and it has another tab of inverters and ESS that you can use. Take a minute also to mention the Breker Residential carport. This is a great way to expand existing solar systems or an alternative solution where you cannot install solar on a roof. Shown here is the 2-car carport. There is also the option for a tandem solution with shared columns, so you can connect multiple of those when you need the carport for more than 2 cars. It's designed to be assembled by a crew of 2 people. It doesn't require any specialized or heavy machinery to install. This is a solar structure, so it's eligible for the 30% ITC and the extra 10% for US-made products or domestic content. The carport is supplied with the iron reach system and under panel clamps, so it accepts any solar module and inverter you want. When combined with the Breker EPDM T-gasket, the surface become watertight. It's designed and fabricated in the US with US made steel It all comes with 25-year warranty. The structure is coming with a structural engineer P stamp. You can install up to 24 solar modules with 4 columns of six modules. With a 410 watt modules, it will generate about 10 kilowatt power, and the same with a 550 watt modules. With the basic load capacities, it has 35 pound per square foot snow load and can be upgraded, and more than 150 miles per hour wind speed, and can also support seismic design category E. The two-car carport is 18 feet wide, cover two standard carports spots, and then 18 feet deep with 9.5 feet clearance. It comes with a 5-degree tilt. Breker just released their G5 or fifth generation model, which has even less parts and installation time reduced significantly. The structure can hold higher loads and has several upgrade options. All components are delivered on 2 pallets. You can find a 3D model on the of the tandem carport and the standalone carport on the Breker website. One last item to go over before we get started is our solar design and quote tool. You'll find it at the top of our homepage at renvu.com. You can generate as many quotes as you need. It's available, and it takes about 2 minutes to complete this. First, you select the components you would like to see, and then you select the modules. I'll choose the Hyperion 400 black on black here. Next, configure your racking system from a wide range of options: tilted, flat roof, ground mount, or carports. I'm selecting the tilted with the metal roof with corrugated profile. On a On the left side, you can see the bill of materials building up when you're logged in to your account. Prices also will change, and it will show you your specific price list. This is a great way to compare the cost of different options in real time. I'm selecting here 2 arrays. First array with 2 rows, first with 15 modules, portrait, second with 10 modules, landscape, and then a second array with 15 modules in landscape. I'll change to black rails, black lamps, and span of 6 feet. The system creates a sketch here of the array. You can verify the design fits the roof space. Then choose your inverter type from microinverters, optimizers, and string inverters. I'm selecting string and storage option. Then I'll get to SolarArc 15K and HomeGrid battery bank. And I'll add also a rapid shutdown to this system. Then at the last page, you can add a couple spare modules if you need. I'll add 2, and then BOS disconnects, Lumin Smart Panel if you want, and EV chargers. I'll add 2 chargers here just to show the functionality. And then at the end, you can save the quote to your account and get a quote to your email. And that's generating a full bill of material for you. After you're generating the quote, the system will take you to the quote page under My Account. You can make changes, save as a PDF, place an order, communicate with our team. And yeah, take a moment to use it. It's a great. If you have any questions about this product or about HomeGrid while Nick and Ricky are presenting, please feel free to ask in the Q&A section, and we will get to the questions at the end of the webinar during the Q&A session. We also launched a poll here with several questions that we will share at the end, just to give us an idea of who we are having here today, and to adjust our presentation to that. You can also email our sales team at info@renvu.com for more information and pricing. Sorry, this webinar is being recorded, and we will send you a link in a follow-up email. We also have recordings of previous webinars on the RENVU YouTube channel. without further ado, I'll hand it over to Nick and Rick.
Thank you, Arias. I appreciate the intro. We love working with you guys, and thank you for hosting this webinar. My name's Nick, and I'm with HomeGrid Energy, and we have Rick Schmidt on here as well. I'll give you a little introduction of myself. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. That's where I'm based out of. HomeGrid itself is based out of Las Vegas. I've been with the company for a little over 2 years now, and I am very passionate about solar and the industry and batteries, and I'm very excited to talk to you about it today. Rick, do you want to give a little intro about yourself? Oh, also, I cover California and Oregon. I'm a regional sales manager. I cover California, Oregon, and also the Northeast, New York up to Maine.
Yeah, I'm similar to Nick in that sense. I cover as a regional sales manager a territory. The Southeast in particular is where I cover, so Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, and then a lot of the Caribbean as well. So I'm just here to help support and answer questions and present with Nick. We're just super glad you guys took the time out of your day to come to this. I know it takes time, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. Thanks, Rick. And like Rick said, if you have questions, feel free to put that in the Q&A. We know a lot, but we don't know everything. So if we can't figure out the answer, we can definitely find it for you after the presentation. So let's hop into it. I'm going to start sharing my screen. You able to see that okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so like I was saying, I'm with HomeGrid, and sometimes you'll also hear the name Lithion thrown around. Lithion acquired HomeGrid a little over 2.5 years ago now, and today we wanted to talk about HomeGrid, who we are, what we do, kind of the future for HomeGrid, and in the past we haven't really offered a sales certification course because our system is so simple. But we have recently started doing a sales certification and a installer certification course. And I have a QR code on this slide. If you guys want to sign up, if you scan this QR code, we'll give you a HomeGrid Sales Certification Number. This webinar qualifies you to receive that number. So if you just take your phone out, scan that QR code, and in the comment section, write RENVU webinar, then you will be qualified for that certification. I'll just give you a couple more seconds to scan that. We'll also have a QR code at the end of the presentation if you didn't catch it at the beginning.
Also share it with a follow-up email if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
We'll have it.
We'll do that. Rick, do you want to talk a little bit about Lithion and what they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So like Nick mentioned, Lithion acquired HomeGrid about 2.5 years ago, but it's really a great selling point for you with your customers. And as an installer, it's just a peace of mind thing to know that Lithion is a battery company that's been around for 25 plus years. And it's really neat to look at all the things that they've done in the past and the things that they're doing now today. They are a diverse battery manufacturer, and so what that means is they're able to do and have done applications across things in the military, from the ray gun to other mission critical devices for the military to robotics. We're in, as I understand it, like most heart defibrillators have batteries made by Lithion inside of them out there today. And then, neat things in robotics, like the Spot robot is that kind of strange looking robot dog you see there that you might have seen before, developed by MIT. We did the battery for that robot as well. So all sorts of neat applications that we've been a part of and we are part of today. I think it just speaks to our ability to create a reliable battery system and the fact that we know that what we're doing and we've been doing it for a long time. I think it's also important to mention that we are backed by Tri-West and Koch Industries. And so that gives us a lot of support in terms of just being able to continue to develop our product and have inventory on hand, which we've never had issues with. So lead times are always awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, Rick. The other thing too, we are backed by a company that has been in business longer than our warranty. So that can also give you confidence that, if there ever is any warranty issues, that you can rely on Lithion to be around. We just finished our second facility in Henderson, Nevada, which is right outside. It's a suburb of Las Vegas. It's 120,000 square feet. We're moving into that right now. And our plan for Q2 is to be a fully US assembled battery. So we will do all the assembly of our battery there. And in the future, the roadmap for HomeGrid is to be a fully USA made and assembled battery. Lithium ion, this is something interesting that I've learned just a little while ago, is lithium ion is an umbrella term. So there are multiple chemistries under the lithium ion umbrella. The two that you kind of most hear commonly in home storage is NMC, nickel manganese cobalt, and LFP, lithium iron phosphate. NMC is commonly used in cell phones, laptops, mobile gaming devices, portable devices that you pick up. NMC is very lightweight and energy dense, but it does have a few issues. It has a risk for thermal runaway. If you guys remember when those Palm Pilots were exploding in people's pockets, or the hoverboards, they can catch fire, and if they get too hot, then they can't cool themselves off. Now there's software in phones. If you've seen your phone get too hot, and it will say it needs to cool down before it can continue to function. So there's a software that protects that, but it can still do that. Also, they don't have a very long lifespan. I'm on a laptop right now, but it's about to become a desktop because I have to keep it constantly plugged in. Most people don't have phones that are older than 4 years old, just because the battery life doesn't last very long. LFP doesn't have that issue. It has a 1.5 to 2 times as long a lifespan as NMC. Very little risk for thermal runaway. It's basically a Gold's Gym weight rack. With that being said, it's very heavy, but it makes it perfect for home storage because you're not picking it up every day. You install it and it sits there and it does what it's supposed to do. And I feel like we have mitigated the issue of the weight by making our battery modular in design. So you can take it in pieces and install it wherever you're going to be installing it, in the home or outside the home. Here's a little graph, kind of just gives you a visual of life cycles of NMC versus an LFP battery. So LFP definitely is the longer lasting of the two. And really, it's the industry standard. We see any battery manufacturer that's currently still using NMC is shifting towards LFP. Rick, would you mind running through the HomeGrid catalog suite?
Yeah, we'll dive specifically into the stack series, which you guys can see on your left there. But we'll also go into a little bit more detail about some other products that you may not be aware of. So I'm glad you're on this webinar today. For those who are not aware, we have to the right of the stack series, kind of in the middle there, representing our what we call our heated module. So it's the same 4.8 kilowatt hour module in the normal stack series, but we have a heated version, and we'll dive more into the details coming up here in a little bit. We have in Q1 here soon we'll have our high voltage BMS, which is represented below the heated module there. You can tell the BMS, that top Lego, if you will, is a little bit taller, and that represents our new high voltage BMS, which will work with basically the 30K Solarc, 60K Solarc, and also some more high voltage inverters. It just opens the door for us in a lot of ways to get in with other inverter groups and more applications. We also have an outdoor case that was just recently released and allows you to put the battery outside and protect against the elements. So we'll dive into that as well. And then on the bottom right there, you can see a small representation of our HomeGrid Cube. And this is a small commercial, even large residential application with Solarcs mounted on the outside, and then our stack series, 8 stacks actually inside of it. up to 153 kilowatt hours. So just an overview of some of our products, but I understand, Nick, we'll dive more into the stack series here now.
Yeah, thank you. So here's our stack series. This is our bread and butter. We have a modular battery in increments of 4.8 kilowatt hours. Starts at a minimum of 2 stacks, and it can go all the way up to 8. And I have a picture that illustrates that a little bit more clearly. But we can go 8 stacks high in a single stack, 8 modules high, sorry. And we can go 15 8 stacks in parallel. So we can get over 0.5 megawatt of storage. It's a Lego-like form factor, like Rick was saying. It just stacks on top of itself. There's a male-female adapter on the top and bottom of each module. There's no wiring in between. Super simple installation. I'm not an installer or an electrician. I was able to, I've been able to show the commissioning, taking them out of the box without hooking up the wires. My record right now is about 8 minutes. So, and that was teaching people. So you can really do this very quickly. That's without hooking up the wires. So that's why we say 30 minutes to sub 1 hour, but very fast. So what that means for installers is it's going to be a lot of cost savings and time saving. All the materials that you need are basically included. You'll just need the battery cables to come out of the BMS, which is on the top, or brains of the unit. And those go into an inverter. We are inverter agnostic, but we do like pairing with Solarc just because of their output capabilities and their different sizes. Our claim to fame is the 4-stack. We can push 14.4 kilowatts continuous, or 300 amps. And we can surge for 10 seconds at 500 amps or 24 kilowatts. And to put that in perspective, most homes in America have 120 to 200 amp main service panel. So out of a 4-stack battery, we can do full home backup, which is really pretty incredible. When we were designing this battery, we had full home backup in mind. We looked at the market and we saw that most batteries were designed around time of use in California. Small capacity, small output, 5 kilowatt hours, 5 kilowatts continuous. And before I got into the industry, I thought batteries powered the whole home, but that's not really the case. So we wanted to create a battery that really did do what customers were expecting and was easy to install and to upgrade. This is a blown out image of the battery. So you have the BMS on the top, the battery management system, and that is the brains, and it tells the other modules what they are supposed to do. You have panels on each side of the modules. On the left side, you can hook an interlocking bracket, which will connect all the modules for seismic purposes. And then on the right side, you have your on-off switch of each of the modules and dip switches. And then you have your base stand. Here's that picture I was talking about. So you can start at 2 and it goes all the way up to 8. The cool thing about this form factor is that no one's really ever locked into a certain amount of storage. So if a homeowner wanted to start with a 2-stack or a 3-stack, and then maybe down the road they wanted to add a couple more modules, it's very simple to do. All you do is take the BMS off, throw on some more modules, recommission, and you've upgraded your storage in less than 30 minutes. You're not looking for more wall space. You're just stacking vertically in the footprint that you already have. The other thing that's great about this form factor is these modules are run in parallel. So if you had a 4-stack battery and for some reason a module were to fail, the battery would continue to function. It would just function as if it was, 1 module less. Like Rick was saying, we have plenty of financial backing and inventory, so we can get a replacement part out very quickly. So a homeowner won't be out power and they can be back at full capacity very quickly. The other thing I was talking about with Solarc is Solarc has a 15 kilowatt inverter. So it's really one of the only inverters currently on the market that can pull what we're capable of pushing out of that 14 or that 4-stack. But they also have a 5K, an 8K, a 12K, and a 15K, which makes this system awesome for sizing it for really any customer you have. We can do full home backup systems, but we can also do full home backup for smaller homes. My home, I could get away with a 4-stack and an 8 kilowatt inverter. Some homes will only need a 2-stack and maybe a 5 kilowatt inverter. You can also use it as, just some peak shaving, something that you use every day, but it won't back up everything. So really customizable, upgradable, awesome form factor. You have anything to add to that, Rick?
No, thanks. That was good. I just wanted to say I see some questions coming in the Q&A.
I think,
Nick, we're going to get to those eventually,
yeah,
right?
yeah, we'll answer all those at the end.
Perfect. Okay, hang tight. We'll get to your questions, but keep throwing them in there. These are
Yeah,
awesome.
we appreciate the questions. With we can cover that later with warranty and adding. But here's how we stack up against our competition. I personally feel like the grid is our biggest competitor. We're really trying to compete against the grid and allow people to gain independence from the grid. But you know, we have the modularity, which a lot of our competitors don't. By and far the most output. We can upgrade higher than everybody else, and we're scalable. Rick, would you mind taking a couple of these?
Sure. Yeah. So as I mentioned, on our product catalog, wanted to dive a little bit more deeper for you guys. I know in California, and anywhere really, there's times where you aren't able to put it inside the house, the battery, right? And maybe it's just lack of room in the garage, or just the homeowner doesn't want it. And so we wanted to make it possible for you guys to put this battery outside. It is IP55 rated alone, without the outdoor case, so it can handle some weather, but it's not warranted outside unless it does have this outdoor case. As this outdoor case is completely IP65 NEMA-3 rated, UV resistant for I guess the sun, and waterproof. So it is a case you can rely on. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay, no, you're good. So it's totally fine to put this outside, and one of the things that you want to keep in mind is, as you can see here, it fits 2 to 4 modules. So at the current version, we can go up to a 4 stack. We are in development eventually here, for an 8 stack sized case. So at the moment, just be aware of that. That last bullet point there is to avoid direct sunlight, and we just want to mention, this case is not necessarily going to manage the temperature of the battery, and all batteries are sensitive to temperature, especially heat. So with this case, just keep in mind you'll want to put it out of direct sunlight. But I think that about covers it. The heated module, Nick, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, yeah, heated module. So this is the same size and shape as the regular module. The only difference is that there's a heating strip that wraps around the battery cells inside the module. And I think we might be one of the only companies that are currently doing this. But what LFP can't take a charge under freezing temperatures, so 32 degrees or 0°C. So we developed this product with colder climates in mind. Basically, once the ambient temperature inside of the module hits 33.8 degrees Fahrenheit or 1°C, those heating strips kick on, and it will warm up the battery to 42 degrees and allow it to operate within those colder temperatures. You can discharge our modules in temperatures down to 14 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you have a full battery and it's warmer than 14 degrees ambient temperature inside the module, then it will be able to discharge. Energy will be flowing, which means heat, so it will warm itself up. And as long as it's still warm when it's ready to take that charge, it will take the charge. Mostly these would be good or beneficial when you've discharged the battery all night and it is cold now and it's ready to take that charge and it's below freezing. These can be used mixed with regular modules. So you could technically do a regular heated, but there's not going to be any heat transferring to other modules. If you put your hand on the heated module, you wouldn't really even feel that much of a difference. So it's not like if you put one, somewhere in the middle, it would heat all the ones above it. But I have seen people do some closer to the ground because typically, like in a garage, closer to the cement, it is going to be colder. This is a non-parasitic load currently. So you will need an external source to power the strips, and that's all automatically managed through the inverter. So solar, the grid, or a generator. those we typically recommend installing some type of generator with these. They do have the ability to be a parasitic load, and we are looking into that. There are some pros and cons to it because it's automatic. And if it was very cold, it could technically take the batteries down to 0. But it is nice that you don't have to worry about that external power source. So we are looking into it. But yeah, we've tested these down to negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and they kept up just great. So basically anywhere in the United States, these will work in outdoor climates. And with them being paired with an outdoor rated case, you could technically put them outside in a cold weather environment. This is our high voltage unit. So we are using the same modules as with our 48-volt battery, which is our regular stack series. That it allows us to pair with higher voltage inverters like Solus and Solarc. They have that 30K and that 60K. This is going to be released Q1 of next year. So we're getting really close on production. Do you have anything to add to that, Rick?
No, I think you covered it.
Oh. Do you want to talk about the HG Cube?
Yeah, this is becoming a really popular product as people are becoming more aware that it even exists. We're seeing a lot of demand in small commercial applications and even some large residential applications. So it's an outdoor rated, think of it like a shed that has air conditioning and heating to keep the batteries at optimum temperature. So that's built in. The ability to stack inverters on the side of the unit's really nice. So you can do, like with the Solarc converter, we can do 3 Solarc 15Ks on the outside of this thing. With our high voltage BMS and the 30K and 60K Solarc, we'll be able to put 2 of those on the outside of this. And we can do less than that too. But inside the HomeGrid Cube, we use 4 HomeGrid stack series batteries, all maxed out at 8 modules. So you kind of picture all 4 of those inside of there. Equals up to 153.6 kilowatt hours inside of each of these cubes. And you can also run these cubes in parallel if you needed some more power. But for a lot of small commercial applications, sometimes they'll just need one of these things, and they can put it outside on a cement pad or next, right, in a convenient location. Especially if they don't have room indoors for all those batteries, it's a really nice option.
Yeah, and you can max it out, or you don't have to. You can do 2 4 stacks in there, and you can grow as you go. It's totally customizable. It's still that same idea of the modularity of the batteries, but really we mostly see these maxed out, and it's a great application. Everything on the DC side is actually supplied. So we stack the batteries up, hook the wiring up and the Solarcs, cut the cabling to length. We take the batteries out for shipping purposes because of weight, but it all ships on the same flatbed. We'll drop it on site, and then basically as an installer, all you have to do is stack the batteries back up, commission them, and then hook up your cabling, and then everything on the DC side is ready to go. So you'll just hook up everything on the AC side. We just recently released our HomeGrid app. There's 2 faces to it. There's the homeowner facing and the installer facing. And the installer facing is the one that I'm most excited about. So as an installer, you can see all the batteries that you've deployed in the field. And if a customer ever had an issue, you can log into that battery through the app and see what the problem is. If you can't diagnose it, you can contact our tech support team, which is based in Las Vegas. They can log in, they can diagnose the issue. They can get you all the information you need, any tools that you would need. And the goal behind it is basically when you get on site, all of the troubleshooting is already finished. So you can get in there, fix the problem, and get out. And so that's hopefully going to save you guys a lot of time to really just move through your busy schedules. NEM 3.0. So this is something specifically for Californians, but I think it's really good to know nationwide. And the reason why is because Hawaii started with it, California's now adopted it. And I think, honestly, in the future, we'll see a lot more states starting to adopt this. So very simply put, recently, at the beginning of this year, California switched from NEM-2, net metering 2.0, to net metering 3.0. And with that change, the utilities are no longer paying as much back for the solar that you pump out to the grid. So for simple math, NEM 2.0, you'd pump out electricity from your solar to the grid, and you'd get $1 credit. And then you, at night when solar is no longer producing, you'd buy that back for $1. So it was a wash, and you basically just have your attachment bill and no electricity bill. Now it's about a 75% cut. So you send it out to the grid for $1, and you have to buy it back or you send it out for $0.25, you buy it back for $1. So now people are a little freaked out because I have my solar loan and I also have my electricity bill. So the solution to being able to still have a good ROI on your system is to attach a battery to it. Instead of pumping out solar to the grid, what you're going to do is send that solar to a battery. And that battery will then at night, when solar is no longer being produced, you'll pull from that battery instead of from the grid. So you'll be able to save money that way because you won't have that electricity bill. But you want a battery that can back up your full house. You don't want just your lights and your refrigerator on. You want your AC. You want, basically life uninterrupted. So that's where HomeGrid really comes into play. We're a battery that's modular, so you can really size it to whatever your home specifically needs. And we can do full home backup. So you can continue to, produce solar and really save all the solar that you are producing all day when most people aren't even home. That's a brief overview and how HomeGrid really is a key component into why, NEM-3 can continue to be a really great option. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to throw that up in the Q&A. Rick, do you want to go through the warranty?
Yes, sorry. Yeah, so our warranty is really great. It's 10 years from each module's installation, and no, it says each module. So we warranty each module individually, or 14.11 megawatt hours of throughput per module, right? So as you track that over 11 or over 10 years, I mean, if you discharge that module every single day fully at 100%, that'd be over 11 years of throughput really for each module. So it's a really great warranty backed by, again, Lithion, a great company that's going to honor that warranty. I think, more than an industry standard for homeowners.
Yeah. And when something that we were talking about earlier, adding to a system, like Rick was saying, each module is warranted individually. So if you had a stack installed and then 2 years later, you wanted to add modules to it, those new modules that you add would be warranted for 10 years. The rest of the stack would be warranted for 8 years. So keeping that in mind. Also, we actively display our state of health, which is very important for people, especially that are off grid. They need to know how much battery they have and how much storage they have. So we are actively constantly displaying how much storage is available to the homeowner. We warranty these to have a 60% state of charge at the end of 10 years. So what that means is a 4% degradation per year. But what we're actually seeing in the field is about a 1 to 2% degradation per year, and sometimes even less than 1. So with that being said, if you were to lose, 2% a year, 2 years later, you'd be at 90%, 96% capacity of that stack that's installed. Even though those new modules can hold 100%, they will balance to the rest of the stack. So they will balance to 96%. So when you are adding to the system, it is always better to add sooner rather than later. But knowing that as soon as those new modules are installed, they have a full 10 years, I think that's very important. We have our website, homegridenergy.com, and on there you can find sales training tools, all of the frequently asked questions, technical reports, spec sheets, all of our certifications. We try to be as transparent as possible and try to help you guys find the resources that you need quickly. If you ever have any issues finding any of those things, feel free to reach out to me or any one of the sales reps throughout the country. If you go into our contact page, you can click on the state that you live in and find the contact information for that specific rep. Here's a couple of pictures of our installs. We have more on our website that you guys can check out, but we're very proud of the clean look, and whether it's going inside or outside, it's a great looking install. So just to sum things up, again, we are full home backup. We have the capability of pushing 14.4 kilowatts continuous, or 300 amps, 500 amp surge for 10 seconds, so we can power those bigger loads. We can dark start air conditioners, pool pumps, well pumps. But we're also great for, just peak shaving, partial offset. We're a solution to 95% of the situations out there that you'd see in the field. We're modular in design, so we're customizable in our capacity and our output, so you can fit it to your individual customers. And we're upgradable in increments of 4.8 kilowatt hours. So you don't have to add huge increments. It's very, I think 5 kWh is perfect for adding. Best in class chemistry, LFP, highest safety ratings, superior life cycles, very low risk for thermal runaway, super simple installation, sub 1 hour, upgradable in less than 30 minutes. And we're a US product, and our tech support team is based in the US. They're in Las Vegas. So everyone on the West Coast, that's the same time zone, but you can contact them. We pride ourselves on our customer support and their accessibility. We also roadmap for HomeGrid. We're assembling our batteries in our facility Q2 of this year, or next year, 2024. And we plan on being fully USA made in the future. So like I mentioned at the beginning, this is a sales certification course. So if you guys scan this QR code and fill it out, we will send you guys a sales certification number for HomeGrid. We also have an installer training course. Those run every Friday, so you guys can log into those as well. You can find it on our website, and that will give you an installer certification number. And we hope that you guys enjoyed this presentation, and we'd like to hop into Q&A if that's all right with you, Rez.
Thanks a lot. That was great. I learned a lot. Let's start. I see here 2 questions about Bleak here, so I'll just answer those, and we can go into the HomeGrid.
Yeah, that's
the first question here is, can I get the T-gasket of Bleak here separate? I have a ground mount already. So the existing T-gasket or watertight T-gasket to fill in the gaps between the modules that Bleak here has is designed for a system without connectors or clamps that are making gaps between the modules, because Bleak here uses under clamps. So if your system don't have gaps between the modules, you can use those T-gaskets. Bleak here is coming out with a new version that has, I think, 3/8 or half an inch width, so it can be installed with clamps like mid clamps like the Iron Ridge UFOs or Unirac or whatever. I think up to 3/8 of an inch or half an inch gaps. The second question here is, how much for a 4-car carport with EV chargers and HomeGrid? Nick, if you can stop sharing your screen, I'll show it quickly. Really easy to get a full quote like this.
Okay.
Let me do that. I'll just show it real quick. And so this is our design tool and quote. You just choose your module. I'll just do something quickly here. And then under carports, I select the carport, the color that I want. And then the inverter I'll use here because you wanted to see the HomeGrid. I'll choose Solar, and I'll use the 12K Solar, and let's say the 19.2 kilowatt. Now you don't need rapid shutdown for this because it's not a roof. And then you wanted EV charger, so here you can use 2 EV chargers, and that's it. If you're logged into your account, this is your price over here. And as I showed before, you can generate quote and send it to your email. That was about 1 minute to get that quote for that question. These are the 2 questions for me, and then we can move on for the HomeGrid ones.
Awesome. I can answer Ron's. When a HomeGrid storage system is delivered to the site, is it okay to leave the pre-installed storage batteries in an outdoor shed for a period of time in cold weather before installing it to the solar system? Yeah, you can do that. Really, if it's just sitting there, it's not going to damage the battery. You know, they eventually will drain themselves. It will take a couple of months, about 4 to 6 months, if they're left on. It's recommended if you're not using these to turn them off on the modular level, turn the BMS off if they're going to be sitting for a long time. But the BMS has a protection in it. If it's too cold, it will measure that temperature inside the modules and will not allow the battery modules themselves to take a charge. So yeah, them just sitting there pre-installed without a solar system is fine.
Next one is, when will the stacked qualify for domestic content? Is what it says, anonymous attendee says, or asked. So we are currently trying to figure out, the details, as I understand it, of the domestic tax credit is what I think you're working or asking about there. We're working on trying to figure out the details. As I understand it, a certain percentage of the battery has to be manufactured in the US to qualify. I don't think it's 100%. I think it's a little less than that. Nick, do you know the details of that?
Yeah, it's written interestingly. It's about it has some US steel requirements as well. But basically, once we start assembling them, we will qualify for that 10% domestic discount or the tax credit. So we'll be sending out a mass email about that, and if you guys registered for that training, I can send out an email too with the QR code. But we would love to blast that out to everybody that attended today. We'll keep you up to date with all the cool stuff that's coming with HomeGrid. Jeff asked to clarify, this is a DC battery. That is correct. We are a DC coupled battery. The inverter is not internal.
Awesome. Nick Duffy, which, Nick, I'm fairly certain you're out of Bermuda, right? I know you can't answer, but I'm pretty sure I recognize your name. Can you interface with SolarEdge inverters? No, we cannot at the moment. SolarEdge is in a way gatekeeping their communication. And we've had conversations with them, and they are a high voltage inverter. So at the moment, even our 48 volt battery at the moment wouldn't be able to work with them anyways. If we eventually do work with SolarEdge, we absolutely will make an announcement. But at the moment, the answer is no.
I think that just to jump in, as an AC coupled, it's possible, not directly with the inverter.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was just gonna say, yeah, if you had an existing SolarEdge system, we could AC couple into that SolarEdge inverter using another inverter like a SolarArc, where we just take the that AC output from the SolarEdge and bring it into the SolarArc, and then just plug right into the SolarArc. But yeah, we wouldn't be able to connect directly into the SolarEdge inverter.
Awesome. Which inverters are certified with you guys? Will you make your own inverter? So we currently are compatible with SolarArc, Schneider, SMA, Victron, Outback. With our high voltage BMS will be compatible with Solarc and Solus and a couple other higher voltage inverters. Whether we have close communication with them is another question. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely looked at creating our own inverter. But if and when we do that, we will still be compatible with all the inverters that I just listed. Any 48 volt inverter and then higher voltage inverter that we're compatible with will still be compatible outside of an inverter if we were to release that.
When is the high voltage BMS available for purchase? That was another question here. So yeah, we're looking at a timeline, I want to say around February, maybe March. We're just currently waiting on getting the UL approved for it. So, we're just kind of basically dependent on UL at the moment, just waiting for that certification to come through. We've tested it with several inverters and it's looking great, but we just need that. So once we have that, we can start stocking it and supplying it to you. So, I want to say just generally Q1 for now, no exact timeline yet.
Do you have an elevation limit, and is it that a hard stop, or is the battery charge discharge deteriorated above that limit? I know that we've installed these above 10,000 feet, and so I don't think that there's really any elevation limits with these batteries, and I haven't run into any. So no, there's no elevation limit. If you are installing above 10,000, 11,000 feet, it would probably be closer to 11. Feel free to reach out to me and I can check with my engineering team, but I haven't had an issue with that or heard of an issue with elevation.
Next question is, how does an installer parallel stacks? Nick mentioned this. We have a Friday installer, basically installation course to get certified in installing our battery. And we go into that in detail there. We also have a YouTube video on our YouTube channel that specifically covers how to put the HomeGrid stacks in parallel. So if you just search HomeGrid Energy on YouTube, you'll find our channel and you'll find that video really easily. It's a matter of just in a lot of ways, just connecting the batteries with a comms cable and dip switches that you'll have to set accordingly to where they fall in parallel. So there's, it's pretty simple that way. And then often what we'll do is, if not always, I guess, we'll use a common DC bus bar in between the inverters and the batteries to put everything in parallel.
Cool. Do you have UL 7540 with Solarc, and is that based on certain stack configurations, or will any configuration fall under that listing? I'm actually not sure about this one. Do you know, Rick?
Yeah, I want to say that with UL 7540 with Solarc, that is not based on a certain configuration. Rather, like you suggested, Jeff, in this question, any configuration falls under that listing. At least that's how I understand it. We haven't had any issues running into configurations that didn't qualify under that certification. So you're good to go.
Awesome. Thank you. Amanda asked, what happens if one module has an issue? You mentioned something earlier. Yeah, so if I could kind of walk through that whole process. If a module did have an issue and it were to stop functioning, if it's in a stack higher than a 2-stack, because 2 stacks are minimum, if you lose a module, then there's no redundancy. But if you have a 3-stack or higher, the stack itself, will continue to function. It will just function as if it were one module less. What you'll need to do is take that module out of the stack and replace it with a new one. You'll recommission the stack and just do an RMA through our tech support team out of Las Vegas. To start that process, you will email tech support, and their contact information is on our webpage. Tell them what the issue is. They will probably do some troubleshooting with you before an RMA even takes place. Make sure that the module isn't totally broken or anything like that. Try to fix it that way, and then if there is an RMA, then we'll send a call tag, and we'll probably do it through the distribution channel that you bought it through to source you a new module. hopefully that answered everything. But basically, it starts through tech support or through your regional sales rep.
Is there any type of in-depth design training webinars? Whenever I've registered through the HomeGrid website for battery installation webinars, this is the same webinar I get, which is mainly an overview. Yeah, Muhammad, this is a great question. Is there, really, can I dive deeper with you? Really is kind of, it seems like what you're asking. And we'd love to do that with you, Muhammad. How we go about that is we schedule those types of in-depth trainings on an individual basis. So Mohammed, wherever you are, let's just say California, if you're Northern California, your regional rep would be Nick. And so you'd actually schedule that individual training and go in depth with him personally. And so if you actually just go to our website, go to contact, you'll find your regional rep, and then you can reach out to them and schedule a more in-depth training with someone individually.
Awesome. Regarding the ITC, you were talking about the 10% adder for domestic products over the 30% ITC, right? And that's correct. So it'd be on top of that. Also, those 10% adders might only be available for non-residential projects, though. Not sure about that. Yeah, it's kind of new territory for us, and we will obviously be diving deeper into that because we're getting super close to it, and that will be Q2. And once we get more information, I'd love to share that with you. But yeah, basically you'll have that 30% and you'll have that additional 10% on top of it.
I'm an installer. I installed my first HomeGrid a month ago. Awesome, Juan. I also have a QR code for installers. Where do I send the serial number for registration? I see. So Juan, I believe you're asking, your question's related to the commissioning process of the battery with our app. Where do I send the serial number for registration? Juan, I'm going to ask if, and we can follow up with you as well after this, if you can talk to our tech support team as well after this, that would be great. We have our phone number. We can put it in the chat for the tech support team, and we can help you with that your first HomeGrid install that you did. So make sure it's online and connected with the app.
I just threw up that questions slide again with that QR code. Like I was saying before, this is a sales certification course. So feel free to scan that QR code so you can get that sales certification number. Chad asks, is there an in-depth material for paralleling two cubes? We've worked with people who have paralleled them. I can find that out for you if we could send you some information. But basically, you're going to, I think actually, I need to look into that a little bit farther. I know that we have done them. So, okay. Yeah, Shane would be a really good contact actually for that information. If that's your contact, call him and he can get you that information.
Awesome. Thanks, Chad. And Juan, I put the HomeGrid tech support number in the chat. Please give them a call and make sure the system that you just installed last month was fully commissioned and connected to the app.
That looks like it. If anybody else has any questions, we're happy to answer that, but feel free to reach out to us. Oh, here we go. You will make integrated cabinets again. We discontinued that item. It was a good product, but there wasn't a lot of demand for it. There are a few floating around still out there. We may be able to get you one, but we aren't planning on bringing these back in. So if you are interested in getting your hands on maybe one or two that maybe are still remaining, feel free to contact us.
That was great. Very interactive. Thanks, Nick and Rick, for sharing that knowledge with us today. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will send an email with a follow-up with a recording of this webinar, some data sheets and information that we spoke about today, and some offers in case you're buying a HomeGrid system now. Prices did get down significantly recently, so pricing is good. We have the $250 gift card for every storage product that you're buying. So this is another benefit that you might want to use. with any questions, you can contact us by replying that email that we will send you or emailing info@renvu.com. Thank you, everybody, and see you soon.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye.
Thank you.